Hello, friends. Long time no see. This is Yoursyuli, the Texas backyard gardener and fellow Rosarian. I am in Texas Zone 8B, and today I just got in my last. I say this all the time. My last order from David Austin. I am someone who has grown probably close to 200 variety of roses in my backyard. Alongside with all kinds of vegetables and fruits. Roses are my absolute favorite, and I thought I would take this opportunity and show you how I like to plant my roses. To mind me, I have to cover up my address. But first, you want to do, as soon as you get your roses in, you want to cut it open because these are bare roses and they've been in this box for the past 2 days. So you really want to get them out of the box and get them in your sink filled with water for at least 2 hours. Okay, so we are now back in my kitchen. As you can see, I already cleaned up the sink thoroughly. You want to make sure that there's no, leftover grease or any food debris in here to avoid any contamination while we're soaking the roots. And just like that, you're gonna fill your sink up all the way with tap water that is room temperature. Okay, so while the water is filling up, I'm gonna start putting in all of the bare roses that I ordered. You're gonna drop them in, put them in gently, nicely, one by one. Make sure that you untangle them while you're doing this. I like to inspect them to make sure that there's no damages or anything like that while I'm putting them in the sink. They are really big this time. Sometimes you get ones that are just a tad bit smaller than the other. Don't be alarmed. No two roses are exactly the same. I know I didn't mention this. Please put the roots down, please. Okay, so now your sink is all filled up. You're gonna set your timer for 2 hours. We're gonna go outside and dig some holes. Okay, so now that we're outside, you're gonna wanna dig a hole that is 16 by 16. Just because we're planting bare roses, and the bare roses from David Austin is the biggest from any other places I've ordered my roses from. Now, if you're planting a 2-quart potted rose, you'll probably want to dig a hole that's at least 8 inches wide. And the general golden rule of thumb is to dig a hole that's twice as big as your pot. Okay, now I got my hole ready, and here in Texas, I don't have the most desirable type of soil, as you can see, and this is after days of rain. I have the kind of difficult clay soil here, but that is okay. Roses can still survive. They're considered hardy plants. But what I like to do to help my roses breathe a little bit better in this type of soil condition in our area is that I like to get a little bit of perlite, just a handful like this. We're going to sprinkle it down just like that, just to help the roots with drainage a little bit better. Okay, so I'm starting to lose a little bit of sunlight here, and my roses are still soaking, so I'll have to do this tutorial without the roses in my hand, but that's okay. I'm going to show you 2 ways to pot your rose in the ground. Now, the first way is a little bit cheaper, more affordable, is to just take your bare root. You're going to straighten it. Make sure it's straight because you don't want it to grow crooked. Put it in the ground and slowly mix in the soil that you dug up from the ground with a little bit of perlite and bury it that way. Now, after you bury it, make sure you mulch it really good and give it a good water, and let it sit overnight. The next morning, you would continue with daily watering. And trust me, your roses won't drown, okay? But it needs water. They are very thirsty plants that needs a lot of water. Now, the second method could cost you a little bit more, and if you don't have these materials on hand, that is okay. But this is a method that I've done a comparison side by side with roses that I plant at the same time. Is what I would do is that I would use a mixture of 25% of cocoa coir with the in-ground soil that you dug up, mix with perlite, and sometimes a little bit of pine bark mulch, the really finely ground up one, not the really chunky ones. And I mix that up and bury my plant back into the ground with that mixture. I noticed there's definitely a difference with how fast it takes off, and it never really gave me like root rot problems where later, the rose can develop black canes and it could die off. So really that's definitely a method with higher success rate. But trust me, like I've done both method. The first one is completely fine too. It's just that, if you have, if you're able to, I definitely recommend the second method. Yeah, before I walk away, remember to water your roses. I always say that rose is one plant that is hard to kill. On the other hand, if you really want it to thrive, it takes a lot of work. So yeah, happy planting!